Hello, my name is Khalid Taimur Akram, and I'm your host today with the program of Eurasian Perspective. Today we have the honor of the Ambassador of Kazakhstan, His Excellency Yerzhan Kistafin, who's with us. He's Kazakhstan's ambassador to Pakistan. So, Ambassador, first of all, I would like to welcome you to Radio Pakistan and to FM 87.6.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. This program we have specially arranged for the ambassadors of the Central Asian countries and from Eurasian region so that they can explain about their countries and they can tell our audience that how the relationship of Pakistan and their country is there and what kind of facilities and what kind of tourism potential and other potentials are available in that country. And since it's an FM channel, so most of our listeners are young generation. So before we talk to you about some difficult things, so first of all, kindly tell us about Kazakhstan. Where is Kazakhstan, and where is the capital of Kazakhstan, and what are the possibilities of tourism in Kazakhstan?
So, once again, thank you so much for inviting me as a first guest. It's a great honor for me. As far as Kazakhstan is concerned, I must say that Kazakhstan is a part of Central Asia. Kazakhstan is the biggest country in our region. It's 9th largest in the world. It's huge. It's 2.7 million square kilometers. Moreover, Kazakhstan is the largest landlocked country in the world. So, in general, I must say that Kazakhstan for centuries served as a bridge connecting East and West. With regard to our bilateral relations, I must say that we are developing and strengthening ties between our two brotherly nations. We have so many things in common, and Kazakhstan was always in favor of developing cooperation between Central Asia and South Asia. We believe it is extremely important in terms of regional connectivity. Today our capital is Astana. Astana is the youngest capital in the world. We moved to Astana back in 1997. In general, Kazakhstan today represents, I would say, a greatly diverse society. Nowadays, more than 130 ethnic groups live in our country, representing 18 faith communities. So, one of the greatest assets that we have today is that Kazakhstan has no conflicts based on religious or ethnic background. In terms of economic development, Kazakhstan today represents a half of the Central Asian economy, and more than 70% of the foreign direct investments have been attracted to our country. During last 3 decades, we have attracted more than 380 billion US dollars. So in general, I must say that Kazakhstan again was in favor of developing cooperation not only between Central Asia and South Asia, but within the Central Asia. We do believe that without regional cooperation with our Central Asian brothers, Kazakhstan cannot develop at full potential that we have.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. You have enlightened us about Kazakhstan. Recently, we have seen that a lot of Pakistani students, they are going to Kazakhstan for studies. So can you please tell us that what kind of opportunities are available for the students in Kazakhstan? What kind of education the Kazakh universities are giving? Because recently we have seen a great influx of Pakistani students going there for medical education. What kind of medical education and other education is available?
Since independence, Kazakhstan hosted hundreds of youngsters from Pakistan who came to our country to study at our universities. And I'm happy to see, for example, last year we witnessed increase of number of young people from Pakistan who are willing to study at our universities. It is true that most of these young people, they are studying at our medical universities. But apart from the medical universities, we have very good, technical universities, universities who are specified in other, not only, medical, but also, for example, we have law schools, very good one. So oil and gas institution, for example, based in the western part of our country. and we would be more than happy to host even more Pakistani youngsters who are willing to study at our universities. And for example, last year a couple of American universities made a decision to establish their campuses in Kazakhstan. In general, I spoke with our Minister of Higher Education, and he expressed willingness to facilitate and to increase the number of young people from Pakistan, to invite these young people, young generation, to study at our universities. And for example, Almaty, the biggest city in our country, 2 years ago it was recognized as the best city for foreign students in terms of infrastructure, in terms of quality of our education. I believe that in the region we are one of the best, and in general I must say our environment very friendly, and we're very close to each other in terms of religion, mentality, customs, culture. So I do believe that it's a friendly environment. Moreover, in December last year, we established for the first time an alumni associations, because as I said, during last 3 decades, hundreds of Pakistanis have graduated from our universities, and we do believe that they can help youngsters who are only planning to go to our country and to study at our universities. They can guide them, they can help them, they can share their experience, information that they have, and definitely we will be paying a very special attention to such an important area as education.
Yes, you are right. I have also been meeting with lots of students who have been studying in Kazakhstan, and they always praise the hospitality of Kazakhstani people and the kind of friendship bond which exists between Pakistan and Kazakhstan. Ambassador, I would like to ask you over here about the agriculture of Kazakhstan, because as we know that right now Kazakhstan is not only a major agriculture country, but Kazakhstan also is the headquarter of the Islamic Organization on Food Security, and the Kazakh agriculture products are not only they not only go to Central Asia, but till Africa they go. So what would you like to tell us about the agriculture industry in Kazakhstan?
As our president said, that agriculture can serve as another driver for economic development of our country. And again, for instance, Kazakhstan is in top 10 among wheat exporters in the world. And we discussed this issue several times, many times by the way, with the officials, Pakistani officials, about the possibility of exporting Kazakh wheat to Pakistan. And the main, I would say, issue or challenge that we've faced in this term is lack of connectivity. So we do believe that as soon as we strengthen our regional infrastructure, as soon as we develop our connectivity, we will be able to to deliver and exchange so many goods, including agricultural products. In terms of agriculture, Kazakhstan is doing quite well, not only in wheat, but we are also growing potato, carrots, and other types of agriculture. So I believe that at the same time, taking into account that Pakistan has a great experience in this term, we can learn a lot from you. And this is why, for example, in November 2021 we signed an MOU on developing cooperation in agriculture. And now what we want to do, we want to develop interaction, not only our, for example, Ministry of Agriculture of Kazakhstan and the Ministry of National Food Security and Research of Pakistan, but also we want to develop cooperation between our big companies from agriculture. And we are doing, by the way, this, and a number of big companies from Pakistan are willing to develop this collaboration, since, as I said, our land is huge. We are 9th largest in the world, so we do believe that we can use our land to develop our agriculture, including in terms of cooperation between our countries.
Very nice, Ambassador. Since I have been interacting with you ever since you have come to Pakistan, and I have been seeing the kind of effort which you have been putting in bringing the industry of Pakistan and Kazakhstan together. So can you please tell us that what kind of exhibitions, industrial exhibitions or trade exhibitions you have been conducting in Kazakhstan about Pakistan and about the exchange of trade delegations since last 1-2 years?
So in November 2021, for the first time in Almaty, in the biggest city of Kazakhstan, we organized the very first Kazakhstan-Pakistan Business Forum.
Very nice.
Only 35 people came from Pakistan.
Okay.
And as they said, it was kind of eye-opener for them. They understood real potential that we have in terms of developing cooperation. And very next year, in May, we again organized in Almaty a single country exhibition, Made in Pakistan 2022. And this time we had more than 170 applications.
So
and
35 in 2021 and in 2023
And
170.
this is what I wanted to stress, that it was a result, an influence of the business forum that we held, in 2021. So then in February, for the first time again, we organized a delegation of business people from Pakistan.
Nice, very nice.
Just 3 weeks ago, I was in Lahore. There was an exhibition dedicated to healthcare and engineering, and we had another delegation of business people from Kazakhstan. And nowadays, thanks to our joint efforts, I receive almost on weekly basis different proposals from the business communities of our countries to develop collaboration. And I'm really happy to see that today we enjoy the positive dynamic in this term. Moreover, in December last year, we established a honorary consulate in Lahore.
Very nice.
This month, we are planning to launch the Kazakhstan House in Lahore. It's a kind of single window solution. Everything, people who want to do anything with Kazakhstan, they will find everything under one roof, under this Kazakhstan House. And in March or maybe next month, inshallah, we are planning to establish a honorary consulate in Karachi. On April 26, we will be launching, inshallah, the very first inaugural flight from Almaty to Lahore, and in May from Almaty to Karachi. This is what I mentioned, connectivity is extremely important if we want to develop our B2B, people-to-people whatsoever. So we do believe that with these direct flights we will develop collaboration.
I'm sure that with these direct flights and the kind of efforts which your embassy and your government is putting in with Pakistan, I'm sure that Pakistan and Kazakhstan will have more trade in times to come. Since we are talking about trade, what I know that the National Logistics Cell has been sending trucks to Afghanistan, trucks through Afghanistan to Kazakhstan. So can you please tell us for the audience, because if they want to do trade via land route, so are the trucks going through Afghanistan or Iran? Which route are they taking? Is it safe? How many days does it take? So that our audience and people out there who want to do business with Kazakhstan through road link can do that.
So we have different options. The first option that you mentioned is a route through Afghanistan. Nowadays, I'm happy to say that it is much easier to deliver goods through Afghanistan. You just have to pay a fee, which is $500, and the government of Taliban, they guarantee the safetiness of your consignment. Another route that we have, again, as you rightly mentioned, through Iran. From Balochistan to Iran, from Iran to Turkmenistan, and finally to Kazakhstan. So we are trying to activate both of these routes. And not only the NLC, I met, by the way, with General Director, General Farukh Rao, several times. We discussed this issue. Moreover, when our delegation from the government of Kazakhstan, headed by the Deputy Prime Minister, His Excellency Yerzhan, when they were in Islamabad, we organized one meeting with the leadership of the NLC. And it was agreed that we will be developing cooperation with your national logistics operator. So I do hope that within this year we will be able to bring our cooperation and connectivity to a new level. Apart from the NLC, we are also working, for example, with the TCS, another company which which is in this business for almost 2 decades, not only with Kazakhstan but with the whole Central Asian region, is the Pak-Caspian Group. So we have a number of companies who are already delivering goods between our countries. So nowadays it's not a big deal.
Very nice, Ambassador. And while talking about Kazakhstan, if we don't talk about SICA, it will be unfair with Kazakhstan, because Kazakhstan is one country which had 30 years back had taken the initiative of collecting all the Asian countries together. At that time there was no Shanghai Cooperation Organization and no other organizations. And we recently saw the 30th anniversary of SICA, in which the Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif from Pakistan, he went there and especially participated in that. So can you please tell the idea behind SICA, why the SICA was made, and how many countries are in SICA, and what kind of cooperation Pakistan is having on the platform of SICA?
So with regard to the to SICA, I must say that back in 1992, the first president of Kazakhstan, His Excellency Nursultan Nazarbayev, for the first time, he shared this idea at the UN headquarters in New York during United Nations General Assembly, and the main idea was to establish a dialogue in our continent, in Asia. Unfortunately, till now, we face a number of challenges, we face a number of conflicts, tensions in the region. So the main idea is to establish a dialogue platform for the countries to sit and discuss. Kazakhstan from the very beginning was in favor of diplomatic, peaceful solutions. It doesn't matter what conflict unfortunately we have today. Kazakhstan is always in favor of solutions that would help to prevent loss of precious lives. This is extremely important. And for these last 3 decades, our country contributed greatly to development of so-called the SICA process. And last year, as you rightly mentioned, there was another SICA summit, and we do believe that it was a milestone in terms of the history of development of SICA. And during this summit it was agreed that we need to transform this dialogue platform into a full-fledged organization. And we are very thankful to Pakistan for supporting this initiative from the very beginning, and we are very thankful to in particular His Excellency Shehbaz Sharif for his willingness to be a part of this very important dialogue, regional dialogue. He visited, as you said, our capital. He had a bilateral meeting with the President of Kazakhstan, and we do believe that SICA has a bright future, and this is a kind of platform that we need in Asia for sustainable dialogue in order to prevent any conflicts in future.
Okay, Ambassador, since, as I said, that FM 87 is mostly heard by the young generation, and summers are coming in, so let's talk about tourism in Kazakhstan. And since now we will be having direct flights from Lahore and Karachi, so what are the tourist places in Kazakhstan if in this summer, because of the direct flights and the good weather in Kazakhstan, if the tourists they want to go over there, where should they go? What are the major attractions over there?
The major attraction, I would say, especially for youngsters, is Almaty.
Almaty.
This is the reason why we decided to establish direct flights from Almaty to Lahore and Karachi. These are the major cities that we have, in our countries. And especially youngsters, they love Almaty very much. It's a beautiful area, it's a hilly area. Almaty used to be our capital for 70 years. There is a beautiful, amazing, ski resort. I believe one of the best in the region. There is a skating ring. It's a stunning view. And after Almaty, I would definitely recommend, of course, to visit our capital Astana, the youngest capital in the world. For those people who are interested in the history of Sufism, for example, I would recommend to visit Turkestan.
Okay.
Definitely, because Turkestan, we consider Turkestan as a spiritual capital of our country, as a cradle of nomadic and Turkic civilization, and I'm sure that it will be very interesting for people to learn more. This year, for example, we are celebrating 930th anniversary of one of the greatest philosophers of our nation, Hoja Ahmed Yassawi. He was a founder of the very first Sufi order in the history, and his contribution to to Sufism, to developing philosophy in our region is huge. So that's why again Kazakhstan is a huge land. So there are so many areas that people
one
can
needs to
visit.
explore. Yes, since we are talking about Sufism and about Islam, so recently we have seen that in your capital Astana, the biggest mosque in Central Asia, it is inaugurated. So please tell us about that mosque.
This mosque, it's a Grand Mosque of Astana, and the capacity is 135,000 people. It's huge. And it was built in order to spread the message of peace about Islam. And nowadays we face a kind of renaissance of Islam. More and more people are converted to Islam, and today about 70% of our population are Muslims. So this is why we pay a very special attention to this extremely important topic of Islam.
Yes, I was in Astana in December. I visited this mosque, and I was very happy to see that outside the main mosque they had made various rooms. If you have to get married, if you have to do nikah ceremony, they have a separate room for that. Then Quran classes, and then lots of activities happening for even children, and to bring more and more people and attract more and more people toward the mosque. So, Ambassador, talking more about Kazakhstan, can you please tell about recently we have seen a new constitution in Kazakhstan, more freedom given to the people, more freedom given to their voice, the judicial system and everything. So there was a very massive constitutional changes that has happened in Kazakhstan. So can you please enlighten, especially the international relations students who are listening to the program?
In general, we introduced a number of amendments to the current constitution that we have. And it was by initiative of our president, His Excellency Kassym-Jomart. So the main idea was to liberalize the political system of our country. One of the main goals was to make our parliament more influential. For example, on March 19th, we will be holding an early parliamentary election. So, during last 3 years, we held a number, we implemented actually a number of important political reforms. A number of political, as we say, packages have been implemented, and for example, nowadays it is much easier to register a political party. Previously, if you want to register a political party, you would have to gather at least 20,000 votes. Now you have to gather only 5,000 votes.
Okay.
And according to our new amendments, political parties, if they want to be promoted to the Parliament of Kazakhstan, they would need to gather only 5% of votes in comparison to 7% votes before. So what we are trying to do, we are trying to simplify the procedures. We are trying to make it easier for political groups to become members of our parliament, and to diversify political landscape of our parliament, and not by the way of only of our parliament, but in general, or to simplify procedures for our civil society to be a part of our political life.
As audience, as you know, that today we have our guest ambassador of Kazakhstan with us. He's telling us not only about the Kazakhstan's culture and history, he's also talking about Kazakhstan's trade with Pakistan and the kind of universities they have, the kind of tourism which one can have over there. So talking about music and film industry and all the arts, So, Ambassador, what can you tell us about the Kazakh film industry, the television industry? How is the media in Kazakhstan?
In general, I must say that our media community is doing quite well. We are again paying very special attention to developing media industry in Kazakhstan, including film producing, musics, TV channels, musical TV channels, so on and so forth. So, for example, now in collaboration with the Ham TV, we dubbed into Urdu one of the most popular Kazakh movies dedicated to the history of our nation, called Kazakh Khanate. And hopefully this or next month we will air this movie on the Ham TV.
So I think we should be then ready to see a Kazakh movie on Ham TV very soon,
Yes,
a dubbed movie. So coming back to art and culture, as we know that Kazakhstan is land of Al-Farabi, who was the greatest poet of his time, and just 2 years back we had celebrated his probably 450th birth anniversary also. So what can you tell us about Al-Farabi's vision on the region, and how Al-Farabi connects this South and Central Asian region?
Al-Farabi was one of the greatest scholars of his generation, and just like any other philosopher, thinker, he was again in favor of developing this collaboration between the nations of the region. So I do believe that his legacy is still very progressive. The way of thinking, and we can learn a lot from his works, from his research, from his activity, even from in general, I must say, from his life.
Yeah, okay. Going back to Kazakhstan's tourism and the climates over there. So as we know that Kazakhstan is in winters, it is one of the coldest in the world. And in December, once I had visited there, it was minus 25 and
it was warm.
It was warm. So how are the weathers in Kazakhstan? How people survive in that much of cold? What kind of special heating arrangements the government provides to them, and what kind of food they eat in winters in that much of cold?
I must first of all say that Kazakhstan, since it's a huge country, we have different climate zones. And as you rightly mentioned, for example, Astana, our capital, is the second coldest capital in the world after Ulaanbaatar in Mongolia. And for us, for our nation, it's not like something unusual. And when it's minus 25, it's quite I would say
normal
normal temperature for our people. Sometimes our people even miss this winter.
Okay.
Myself, sometimes I miss our freezing winters. We don't do anything special, I would say. We eat the same food. We just use our coats. We wear warm clothes. I wouldn't say that we do anything special in this regard.
So, Ambassador, as I know that since last 2 years you have been going to many cities of Pakistan. You have been visiting Lahore, Karachi, Sialkot, and many other cities. So, what is, and I'm sure that this must be your first visit to Pakistan and coming here as ambassador. So what is, how do you explain Pakistani people, Pakistani culture, and what are your views?
First of all, I feel like home in Pakistan, and I'm really deeply touched by the hospitality of your people, by great generosity. Whenever I visit, any region of your country, I see this, kind of vibes of brotherhood, I would say, and I see that your people are always trying to support and do everything they can to help me to develop collaboration with my country, and in general to create friendly environment for strengthening ties between our two brotherly nations.
Very nice, thank you very much. And I presume you had been visiting various universities and talking to the students. So do you find a lot of interest about Kazakhstan and Pakistani students also?
In general, I must say young people are always curious are always curious, and they are always, interested in learning something new. And since, as we discussed earlier, we need to fill the gap, because there is a lack of information between our countries, about our countries. People are, especially young people, are always interested in, to explore new areas, new countries. And for example, nowadays we are organizing essay competition. And I see that young people are interested very much in participating in such events.
Very nice. So coming back to trade and imports, exports. So if Pakistani manufacturers have to send their goods to Kazakhstan, so what do you think that what is your suggestion for them, that what kind of goods are mostly needed in Kazakhstan, like for example clothing or surgical items or sports goods? So what would you suggest, especially for the small and medium industry people?
I would say that we need everything that you have, almost everything that you produce in your beautiful country, be it surgical instruments, textile industry, pharmaceutical industry, agriculture. I mean, the sweetest mangoes in the world, potato, all these things are, in high demand in Kazakhstan. So this is why I do believe that your, entrepreneurs, your business people, be it, small and medium-sized entrepreneurs or, big companies, they have very good potential in our country. And by the way, it is not only about our country, it is about our region in general.
Very nice, and I'm sure that a lot of people will get motivation after listening from this, and you will be receiving lots of call in your embassy that we want to go to Kazakhstan and to do trade with them. And what about the Kazakh industry and things coming from there, the fruits and other agriculture items coming from Kazakhstan to Pakistan? What do you think that what kind of Kazakh goods which the Pakistani market can absorb? As you know, Pakistan has a very big market. We are a population of more than 220 million people. So what kind of goods that we should be looking at on Kazakhstan?
Again, I see that in terms of export of our goods, I mean, from Kazakhstan to Pakistan, again, as you said, you are the 5th largest market in the world. And in this term, we can bring almost everything that we have in our country, but the main demand is in terms of energy resources. Of course, we have oil, we have gas, we have uranium, we have coal. Allah Almighty blessed us with so many different natural resources. And in 2020, we established a joint working group on energy cooperation. And now our ministries of energy, they are working and trying to explore the options in terms of delivering our energy, oil, gas, to Pakistan. These are the main issues that we are focused on today.
Yes, thank you very much. You talked about a very important aspect, energy. As we know that Pakistan is currently passing through a severe energy crisis, and because of the Ukraine war and many other reasons, we are passing through. So is your government and our government talking about the energy sector? What kind of energy products the Kazakh government has been offering to Pakistan?
Again, for example, Minister of State on Petroleum, Dr. Musaddiq Malik, he visited our country twice. And he met with our Minister of Energy, and they had direct talks about the, prospects for developing cooperation in energy. So nowadays, for me, it's a bit hard to, to identify concrete products or areas in which we could collaborate.
But they are talking.
They are talking.
It's
I
nice
would say that we are in the middle of the negotiations.
Okay, very nice. Kazakhstan is also. Kazakhstan not only hosts SICA, but Kazakhstan is also member of Shanghai Cooperation Organization, CIS, and many other international organizations. And I presume that Kazakhstan plays a very important role in OIC also, in interfaith harmony also. So how do you explain Kazakhstan role in the international arena, especially in OIC and SCO and in other? So how do you define that?
I would say that Kazakhstan, our nation, we want to share our experience of developing society, the model of society of peace and harmony. we have great experience in terms of developing inter-ethnic dialogue, inter-religious dialogue. This is the reason why 20 years ago we established so-called Congress of World and Tradition religions. So in this term, I would say that Kazakhstan can, to some extent, for some countries, can serve as a model for developing their societies.
Very nice. We have seen Kazakhstan's president's active presence in Shanghai Cooperation Organization and many other international organizations, and I'm sure that Pakistan and Kazakhstan must be hand in glove with each other in all these organizations. Coming back to the education system of Kazakhstan, you have already explained about the universities and other things. So how is the education system for the young, for the middle level or for the primary level education? At what age the children go to Kazakhstan in school, and how is their daily school life over there? I'm just talking about the young children. Do they study in Kazakh language, or you teach them in English also, and how does that work?
So in general, our education is compulsory and free of charge. I mean, our schools.
Very nice.
And our schools, starts at from 7 years. And we have Kazakh schools, we have Russian schools, and of course nowadays young people, they study English from early age. We believe that this actually our government implemented this so-called trilingual policy about 10 years ago. And
so they study in Russian and Kazakh and in English.
Yeah. So we believe that this combination could be of great help for our young people in future.
Very good, and I think your interview will not be complete till the time we do not talk about sports in Kazakhstan. Yeah. So what is the national sport of Kazakhstan, and what kind of games you play?
In general, of course, as many countries in the world, we are great fans of football. And we are doing, I would say, quite well in boxing, in wrestling, in mixed martial arts.
In tennis also, probably.
In tennis, yes. Yeah. Recently, our tennis player, Yelena Rybatina, she won the Wimbledon Grand Slam. So, many different sports, including ice hockey, for example. In our country, due to different climate zones that we can enjoy.
Every zone has a different game also.
We have winter games, we have summer games.
You have winters and summers.
Many things. And nowadays, I must say that fitness industry is extremely popular. Yeah. And young people, more and more young people, I see that they are fitness lovers.
So once talking about games and all those things, do you see some kind of enhancement between Pakistan and Kazakhstan in terms of sports? Because football is also one of the most liked sports in Pakistan, and Pakistan is, as you know, the official football maker of the World Cup also. So do you see that in future the Kazakh football teams and Pakistani football teams can collaborate and they can have their bilateral matches?
Last week I met with Minister for Interprovincial Coordination, His Excellency Mr. Mazari, and we discussed prospects for developing cooperation in tourism and sports. This year we are planning to sign an MOU on developing cooperation in sports.
Very nice.
We do believe that sports diplomacy is another area which can contribute greatly in terms of strengthening people-to-people ties. I'll give you just last examples. Our athletes, they participate on regular basis in the Islamabad Tennis Cup.
Okay.
Our athletes participate on regular basis in international taekwondo tournaments organized here in Islamabad. We, on regular basis, we host athletes from Pakistan participating. For example, last time they participated in the international archery tournament. Wrestlers from Pakistan. And as far as football is concerned, it was 2 weeks ago when I met with representatives of Futsal Federation. And we agreed to develop this collaboration.
Very nice.
For example,
nice.
K2.
Yeah.
So you have Pakistan Alpine Club.
Yes, we have that club for the
For mountaineers.
mountaineering.
So now we are developing cooperation between our federations of mountaineering.
Okay.
So to be honest with you, my dear brother, there are so many areas for developing
I'm
collaboration.
sure, and ever since you have been here in Pakistan, we have seen a very visible change of Kazakhstan presence everywhere, and very recently the Central Asian countries ambassadors, they have opened up a Central Asian desk in Islamabad Chamber of Commerce and Rawalpindi Chamber, and in many other cities, as you are saying, in Karachi and in Lahore, you are opening up Kazakh trade centers. So I'm sure that this kind of collaboration will enhance more people-to-people cooperation, and more people would go to Kazakhstan, and more people from Kazakhstan coming to Pakistan. So do you also, when you go back and when you send your diplomats back to your country, do you tell your students also that they should come to Pakistan for studies? Because Pakistan has a very vast variety of education which we offer.
So in September last year, for the first time at the premises of at the headquarters of Comstec, we organized a joint forum of young scholars, Kazakhstan, Pakistan and Turkey, 3 countries. And we invited young scholars from Kazakhstan. So what I see is that this is another area which has a great potential for developing interaction between our youngsters, between our young scientists. In December, we invited representatives of leading universities of Kazakhstan to visit Pakistan, and what we are trying to do, we are trying to establish exchange programs, academic mobility, and to invite youngsters from Kazakhstan to to study at your universities. Nowadays, I must say, we have some people, but it's few. Okay. So we need to to develop this area.
So Ambassador, since we are heading to the closure of our program and we have news at 5 p.m. So before we finish the program, I would just would want to ask you that if you have to give one message to people of Pakistan regarding Pakistan-Kazakhstan friendship. So as Ambassador of Kazakhstan, as a representative of Kazakhstan, what message from Kazakhstan side you will give to the listeners and to the people of Pakistan?
So taking this opportunity, I would like to send this message of brotherhood, and I would like to welcome my dear brothers and sisters from Pakistan to visit Kazakhstan, since we are launching direct flights.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, today we had the honor of having with us the Ambassador of Kazakhstan, who has been instrumental in bringing Pakistan and Kazakhstan together, since he's my friend also. So I have been with him in many meetings at various places, and I've seen the kind of efforts which he and his team are putting in for enhancing this friendship. And sir, we are thankful to you for giving your time over here. And since this is the first program of the Eurasian perspective, and since we decided to invite you because as we know that the Belt and Road program, it originated from Kazakhstan, and Kazakhstan was the country where President Xi Jinping first went and announced the Grand Belt and Road program, which Pakistan 10 years ago, and Pakistan is a major partner in the Belt and Road program, because the first corridor, the flagship corridor, CPAC, it passes through Pakistan. So Pakistan also attaches lots of importance to Kazakhstan, and we hope that in days to come and years to come, Pakistan and Kazakhstan will have more collaboration, and we'll work together. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.